Okay guys, so I just want to make a follow-up video based on my first tutorial about the Flow NX2s. By now I have been using these bindings for about, I would say, 23 times. And every time that I used the Flow bindings, I was using them for about maybe 3 to 4 hours on the slopes or on the indoor slopes. And I have to say that I still think they are one of the best step-in bindings available on the market. Of course, you have many different kind of step-in, step-on, or comfort bindings nowadays. I think the phase bindings are coming out, which are also well, very fast. You have the Burton step-on. You have the Flow bindings, of course. You have SP Fast Tech, which is very comparable to Flow. And of course, you have the Supermatics amongst things. So I just wanted to let you guys know how I experienced my time now on this tried and true concept of bindings. So what I really like about the Flow bindings is the fact that they are very comfortable, but also very prestigious. And what I mean by prestigious is that I really feel that if you configure them correctly, the performance is amazing. So with performance for me, what's very important is the board, well, the stability, the cushioning, also, to my opinion, good board feeling, stiff binding in general, that keeps me very stable. But of course also the feature of stepping in and stepping out easily. Also when configuring right, they are very tight around your boot. So the straps, they are very tight around my boot. By configuring them correctly, you will feel that the looseness, as how a lot of people complain about Flow bindings, the looseness of the boot in the binding, it's just not there. Right? If you configure it correctly, and if you then it is really tight around your boot. Sometimes even too tight, but then it's just a matter of making the straps a little bit looser by using the ratchets. And furthermore, I may say that I'm really a fan of the extra cush frame here. I really think that, you know, with all the other iterations that you have of Flow, this iteration, I think this iteration of the Flow NX2 is dated from 2020 till 2024. I really think that these are the best ever. Okay, what I also like about this iteration from 2020 to 2024 is the modular high back. So the nice thing about the modular high back is that you can shift this upper part. You can shift it more upwards, but you can also shift it more inwards or outwards. So depending on how you ride, you can make sure that this goes like a little bit more in or out. So that's also something I really appreciate. Also by putting this part a little bit more up, by unscrewing here and here, but also here. By unscrewing them a little bit, like halfway, you can easily put this more upwards, and that will result into more responsiveness, because the higher the high back in general, combined with the stiffness, and these are quite stiff, I would say, you have even more response from the binding, which in turn also saves you a lot of energy and also makes your turns much quicker and swifter, I would say. So all in all, I'm extremely positive about the Flow NX2 bindings. These are from 2023, I believe. They still have, from 2020 to 2024, they have like the extra cush frame. Also, what I found very, very interesting about these bindings is the exoskeleton. So this really helps when configuring the straps, trying to centralize the straps as much as possible. So this could really help to see if your straps indeed are centralized based on your boot and the form of your boot. So that's very cool. And furthermore, I really want to say that despite the fact that they're very easy to step in and step out, the configuration may take a little bit more time than other bindings, but once you have figured out the right configuration for you, you will really notice that it will become unnecessary to constantly using your ratchets. What I also heard from other Flow users is that when they use Flow bindings and when they lift the high back up and they pull the lever to secure it, they also ratchet these a little bit down to make it more tight. If that is the case, that only means when you have to use the ratchets to make it tighter, it just means that your bindings are not configured well. Okay, if you configure it well according to my previous video in which I explained how to get really locked in to the binding, if you use that configuration well, which means configuring easy entry and easy exit, but also configuring your forward lean, okay? If you do these things right, your boots will be so tight in the straps that it will never be necessary to use the ratchets to make it tighter or looser. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Yeah, so all in all, I'm very satisfied about the fast entry, the comfort, the quality of the binding, because I really, well, my opinion is that when you have these bindings in hand and you feel the materials that they are made of, then you can only conclude that these are very high level materials, like premium materials, so they are absolutely worth the price. Also, there's not a lot that can break about these bindings. It's really, really solid. The cable is made out of steel. The screws are also very, very strong. I think they're also made out of steel or some kind of maybe aluminium. The chassis of the NX2 is made out of aluminium. It has like very thick padding. You can of course also, well, in this case, for the iteration of 2020 to 2024, you can also extend the footbed by about 1 centimeter. The disc that these bindings use are also very handy because you can put them vertically, but you can also put them horizontally. So in that way, you can ensure that your boot in your binding is going to be centralized on your board. The vertical way of putting your binding to your board guarantees that you will be able to centralize your boot on the board, which I think is very important. And other than that, I just think that I made a very good choice going for Flow. It's a brand that has already been into developing these type of step-in rear entry bindings since I think 1995 or even earlier. So they're in this business for 30 years. And I really see that, based on their experience, their bindings to me are the best. So not only by comfort, but also by fast entry, fast exit, performance of the binding, so the stiffness of the binding, that gives a lot of performance and stability, and in general, just the premium qualities that are being used justify the sales price, to my opinion. So if you have any questions about these bindings, just send me a comment and I'll try to answer them as well as possible. But till so far, with my 20 plus days or 20 plus sessions of boarding using these bindings, I'm very, very satisfied. Quick entry, quick entry, comfort, stability. I love these bindings. I love Flow bindings, especially the NX2. I believe the fuse is also a very good one. It doesn't differentiate, it doesn't differ that much from the NX2, I believe. And of course, if you want a more or a less stiff feeling of the bindings, then of course the Flow Phoenix is also there for you. But tried and true brand, sheer quality. Again, it just takes a little bit more configuration, but once you have done that configuration, it's going to be solid, and indeed it is going to be setting and forgetting. If you want to know more about how to configure them correctly, how to set up the straps, how to test your easy entry, your easy exit, how to make sure that despite you have easy entry and easy exit, you're still going to be locked in those bindings by, of course, configuring the forward lean, which is very important with these bindings, to be locked in these bindings. Then, of course, check out my other video. But all in all, I'm very, very satisfied, and I think I'm never going to use another binding than NX2s. So yeah, well done, Flow and Heidecker, and thank you for watching.